So today's lesson is on change. And I always wonder how to talk about this, because this topic for me is, well, I like all of them actually, because I got to pick each topic that I come in here and talk to you about. But I like this one in particular because it's fun and it's funny. And I do have a moral to the story, and I'll tell you the moral to the story right at the beginning so that you can deal with the piece that I'm really throwing at you as the one main lesson I want you to get. And the main lesson that some people take from here, this is not the one I want you to get, is that change is always good. That is not the lesson. I will spin this in a way that has you thinking about change, hopefully a little differently, but the message is not that change is always good. Change is not always good. I happen to like change. I'm kind of a fan of change. I'm one of those people who never wants to eat at the same restaurant twice until I start, after I get through all of them, I'll cycle back through. I like different music. I can't listen to 103.5 FM. If I hear Stairway to Heaven one more time, I swear to God, I'm going to kill myself. There's just certain things that I just can't do over and over and over again. I like different stuff. It's probably one of the reasons I've stayed on a college campus, is because you all keep change active in my life. You keep it active because every year I come back, I'm a year older, and every year I come back, you're 18. Every year I come back to campus. I actually first started teaching when I was 23, and they were 18, and then I was 25, and you were all 18, and then I was 30, and you were 18, and I was 40, and you were 18, and then I was 50, and you were still 18, and I'm like, shit, there must be something about this I like. And here's the piece. The lesson I want you to get is that change is constant. And your ability to learn how to cope with change is greatly correlated with your ability to live a long and happy life. In the course of your life, you're going to get about 30,000 days. I'm rounding that out. About 30,000. And in those 30,000 you won't remember all 30,000. In those 30,000, you might remember, I don't know, maybe, 1,000 to 5,000. I don't know. I've never tried to sit down to see how many days I remember. I certainly remember many, many moments, but I don't remember full days, like, wow, remember that day. There's a movie called Hurricane. It's a movie about a guy named Reuben Hurricane Carter. He was a boxer. Anybody see that movie? Denzel Washington's the actor in it. Now, I'm not going to be one of those people who ruins the movie for you, okay? Don't you hate those people? They ruin the movie. They like come out and say, oh, wow, let me tell you about Fight Club. And you're like, oh, no, I know the first rule of Fight Club. You know what the first rule of Fight Club is, right? Yeah, and you know what the second rule of Fight Club is? Yeah, don't talk about Fight Club. And there's a reason for that. But whenever I go into a movie, I'm looking for one line. I think I've said this to you. Whenever I sit in a classroom like a lot like this one, I'm looking for one piece to take out, just one piece. When I think about how many actual classes I sat in on, if I remembered one piece from every single one, just one piece from every single one, I think how much smarter I'd be than I am right now. And so when I watch a movie or I read a whole book, I just look for one piece. Like in Girl Interrupted, for example, I won't ruin the movie, but there's a scene in there where there's one line that I think, and I really enjoyed that, I think it does a really good job on certain things, but there's one line that just killed me because of where I was in my life. And it's the line where they ask the Winona Ryder character about Angelina Jolie character, and they say to her, the psychiatrist says to, is it Winona Ryder, is that the actress? She says to her, do you miss her? And she looks back at the psychiatrist and she says, I miss her, but my life is better without her. And at that moment in my life, that was a really good line. It was a really important line about somebody in my life that I missed, but my life was better. And so in the movie Reuben Hurricane Carter, I was getting ready to do a keynote speech actually in Nashville, of all places. I don't dress well enough for doing keynotes in Nashville. I said to the woman before I went, what should I wear? You know, it's the South. What should I wear? And she says, well, you know, we do dress up here. You should probably wear a suit. And I said, shit. I don't have a suit. And she says, well, then a sport coat and some good slacks and a tie will work. And I said, don't have a sport coat or a tie. She said, well, then maybe just some nice slacks and a nice button-down shirt. And I said, well, I might be able to do that. And she said, well, honey, you wear whatever you want. And I was like, okay, that's what I'll do. And so I'm getting ready to go do a keynote. And the way I prepare for presentations is I watch things. I watch society. I watch things that happen. And so before this one, I actually saw this movie. And in this movie, there's a scene where this person is walking through a bookstore, a used bookstore, with this other person. And he grabs a book, and he picks up the book, and he says, wow, the 16th round, the story of Reuben Hurricane Carter. I wonder what this book's about. And he holds the book in his hand, and Reuben Hurricane Carter was actually a boxer from near me, Rahway, New Jersey. I grew up in Philadelphia. It's not too far away. And I had heard about Reuben Hurricane Carter mostly from a Bob Dylan song. And he picks up the book, and he looks at the guy in the movie, and he says to the guy, I've never read a book all the way through. I wonder why I picked this book. I'm going to read this book all the way through. I wonder why I picked this one. And here's where the line came. The guy looks back at him, and he says to the guy, he says, sometimes in our lives, we don't choose the books we read. The books we read choose us. And I thought to myself, this is how my life has been as I think about change, as I think about society, as I think about the events that have happened in my life. Many of them have come to me, but I didn't choose them. They happened. And when they happened, my job was to be as ready as I possibly could be for that moment as it hit me in my life.